Hey,
Jumbo Jumbo.
it's the Jessies again.
Yeah.
For those new to our podcast, this is Adulting Conversations with the Jessies. I'm Katunga Jessie.
And I'm Caleb Jesse.
And in this podcast, we talk about issues that relate to being an adult, being grown, and all the things that it entails. We're by no means experts, but we do try to just have conversations around the issues that affect us as adults in the world that we're living in today. And so, welcome to the podcast.
Karibuni sana.
So, in a previous podcast, we'd talked about doing nothing together and all the lots of nothing that can happen when people are together. And so we thought this would be a good time to discuss how to spend quality time with your partner. And in our case, what we have learned is that yes, there's quality time, but really what makes a relationship rich and flavorful is the ordinary time that we spend together.
Yeah.
The thing about quality time, I'd say, if I can just dive right into it, the thing about quality time is that when we think of quality time, we often think along the lines of we have to plan for a date or a coffee or a dinner or a lunch or an event or a weekend away. And while those things are very, very valid and very useful and nourishing to our relationship, they're not always necessary. When you're thinking of a long-term partnership with somebody, you're not going to spend a lot of time doing that.
You're hustling.
I know. You probably have jobs. You're probably pursuing more education. You probably might have children in the future. So you might not have, in terms of the clock, the day, in terms of days and weeks and months and years, you might not always have huge chunks of time to dedicate to each other, even if people are now becoming more and more intentional about doing those things. Sometimes, I mean, you have to juggle that also in your budget. You have to include that, in whatever other expenses you have. And so today we just want to talk about spending just regular time together and how it enriches a relationship, especially when a couple is committed to the process, when a couple is dedicated. I mean, we had talked about commitment, right? The process of relating. What happens is that ordinary moments can bring out very wonderful memories. And ultimately, I think in a relationship, you're not just building life together, but you're also creating memories together. And sometimes memories are not necessarily, we went to Coachella, or we went to
blankets and wine.
Oh, come on. That's a good event. Or somebody's concert, or I mean, sometimes it's just, we're in the kitchen, someone is doing dishes, someone else is, doing the cooking, and we're just chit-chatting and just having a regular old conversation. Just hanging out, exactly. And I think sometimes we get so caught up, I guess, when you look at all the mainstream social media, you are seeing a lot of people who are having all these moments and they're posting all these amazing moments. And almost every day, a couple is posing and posting a photo of what they're doing, with their relationship goals, hashtags, and all these things. And so it puts pressure on people sometimes to the degree that you feel that if we're not doing those things, maybe our relationship is not vibrant, but really a relationship's vibrancy is really based on the attitude that both of you bring to the table. So even if you're doing a regular mundane daily task, it's the interaction between you and your person, that is what
ndio muhimu.
Yeah, that's what makes the thing come alive. That is what the relationship is about. That is what the moments are about. That is what the memories are about.
Yeah. Speaking of memories, I'm a very busy guy.
Aren't you ever?
Like I am a very, very busy guy, and trying to juggle between my work-life balance and my family life balance. And I started thinking to myself, man, I need to be spending more time with the children. Then I need to be spending more time with Kay, with Mrs. Jessie, and then I still need to find time for myself. There's a lot of things to think about.
Right.
And I thought to myself, maybe it's not the amount of time you spend, but it's the quality of the time that you spend with the loved ones, or just generally the people who you want closest to you, right? And it really got me thinking that maybe the same way, there's a reason why 5-star restaurants give you a certain dish. They quantify it. They put it at a certain. They don't give you the serving that they give you is quality serving, right? And you can only pay for it once or twice, and then you feel satisfied. Right? Then you wait for the next time, then you go back to the same place, right? That's exactly the quality time I spend when it comes to, the dynamics of balancing between both work and also home. Because at the end of the day, the memories which are made are in the simplest of things. Of course, there's always the excitement that comes with it, right? The big things, a big event that's completely life-changing, those kind of things. Those no core memories, but there's some core memories that are actually built from very simple things, like sharing, as you mentioned, a recipe, cooking together. You can have some hidden secrets about some great grandmother's recipe that was transferred in a lineage, and now you have it, and that creates for conversation, because it is the idea that you want to engage this person that you want to be with is what counts the most. And you find that very few understand how to really get into that space. It has to be something very something very exciting, something very heartwarming and moving and all that. Naweza kuwa ulienda tau kanunuliwa ile ice cream yenye hujai kula, naleta nyumbani na iko baridi, it could be those kind of small things, and it still sparks conversation. It doesn't have to be intense conversation. It's just the idea that you want to build, and you value the time spent. And I think that's definitely something that is rewarding.
I mean, I'd agree with that. The quality of time is about, the intention to spend time with that person. So in that moment, you're fully present. You're not distracted by a work thing or something, I don't know, a series that you're hooked on, or in that moment you're just there with that person and just being and doing life, even if it's a small moment. And yes, those kinds of conversations also those moments allow, if I use the example that Jessie just pulled up about, you could be in the kitchen cooking and then someone is using some secret method or ingredient in a recipe that you're cooking. It allows you to share part of who you are with this other person. And I think that we often think about relationships very superficially. It's about what it looks like and what we can wear on what we have together and what we can show off to the world. What makes a relationship rich and meaningful is everything else that they can't see. It's the things that you can't see. It's the things that you can't really talk about. It's the personal, private secrets and hopes and dreams that you share with your person that nobody else knows about. And those aspects then, in a moment, for example, where I'm sharing, for example, like in my case, I'm going to use an example. There's a lot that I learned from my grandmother. And growing up, I was very close to her and I loved her dearly. And I was named after her. And every time I think of her, there's such a deep resonance in my soul of how much I miss her because she passed on. And so when I'm busy sharing things, for example, even with Jessie or with my children about her, it's very, very deeply personal. And for me, it's passing on my own family history and stuff like that. And so we didn't need to take a movie or go to an event to have an interesting, engaging time. We didn't need something external to fuel that moment. Just in my sharing that secret recipe, or this is what grandma taught me, or this is what I learned from her, or did you know, like I have so many random facts about my family, my ancestry, but did you know? And sometimes I'll say something like, did you know 1, 2, 3, 4, and Jessie would be like, well, that explains it. I'm like, explains what? And it turns out that there's something that I do, or a way that I think, or there's a certain way I express myself that he probably found, well, this is odd or interesting or unique, but it's like he can tie it to, oh, kumbe, if your grandma was like this, or if your ancestor was like that, so that's where you get it from. And that moment, we've created a very unique memory because Jessie gets to know something about me that he probably didn't know before, but it also helps him understand me better. And so there are times when, yes, it's conversational, there's activity happening, and then there's sometimes nothing. Absolutely nothing is happening. There's no conversation, there's no activity, it's like and that's the thing I would like to, in this case, it's not mnaangaliana tu, because I think in the case of our country, mnaangaliana tu, it's always things are so thick, kimeumana, mnaangaliana tu. But sometimes you're just chilling and just being happy to be in each other's presence. Like there's no conflict, there's no strife. It's just quiet. And to find a quiet place, to find a quiet space in a relationship is very, very hard nowadays, because each of us is busy. You're busy, your partner is busy. Everybody has an Instagram page and a TikTok page, so they have to keep up, and you have to look at the ratings, and you have to look at the followings and how many likes and this and this and this. And a lot of us are doing it, for just personal fame. But others are doing it, it's business related, And so sometimes that doesn't let us kind of just chill and do nothing, But there are times when that phone gets put down, the TV is off, the radio is off, the kids are off to bed, and we're just sitting there. We're just sitting there. And for people who are very activity driven in their relationships, that's a scary place to be.
It is.
You feel like it means that there's something wrong with your relationship. Like, oh my God, we're not talking. What's going on? And so because people can't bear the silence, they turn on the TV, or
they stir up something very dramatic.
Oh my God, when somebody decides to be pissed off at the person for nothing.
Just
or you
out
remember
of the
something
blue.
that irritated
Yeah,
you 3
and
weeks
then like,
ago.
hey,
You're like, by the way, this is a good time to resolve this. Let's have a fight. I mean, you're probably not thinking let's have a fight, but you know, the memory agitates you and it irritates you, and then you bring it up to your partner, and your partner now gets irritated because you can imagine it was just a quiet moment of zen. And then suddenly someone has come in with all this drama. So of course you don't want to be disturbed from that. You're just like, really, should we do this now? Like, we can't do it another time, you know? And so the nothing that people can do together is a space that can be very enriching for the relationship, interestingly enough. Jesse and I call it breathing. You breathe in and you breathe out. And biologically, what actually happens is that between the in-breath and the out-breath is actually a pause where you're neither breathing in nor breathing out. And I think in a relationship, we can call the breathing in all the activity, and then the breathing out is the trying to unwind from the activity. But that little pause in between is just as crucial to the breathing cycle. And in the same way, it's just as crucial to the life of the relationship, because it allows you to just pause and be. You don't have to reflect on anything. I mean, I think guys are blessed with this. Biologically, they're born with it. I hear there's a nothing box in a guy's brain. Like, there's a place where nothing happens. Literally, when you ask a guy, what are you thinking? And he says nothing. Literally, nothing is happening in that brain.
It's a good space to be in.
And I keep thinking to myself, I would be such a zen person if I had a nothing box. Like, just a place, like the idea of a nothing box as a female, to me, I'm just like, say what now? What does that even mean? You know, I think my brain is always going with one thing or another. Like, literally, if it was not for learning to meditate and doing yoga, I never would have learned to silence my brain. Like, because my brain is always going. It's always a thought of here and now and what happened yesterday or today earlier on, and what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, there's always a thought running through my brain. And then, you know, throw kids into the mix, and it's just that it's so difficult for me to find a moment of nothing boxedness in my mind. But I find that in this relationship, I've been able to find that in the sense of those moments when we're just quiet and nothing is happening. In fact, I think it's Jesse who pointed it out to me. Kids are asleep, house is quiet, nothing is happening. It's all right. Like, literally being drawn to the fact that no, you don't have to think about what the kids are gonna eat tomorrow. You don't have to think about the kids' outfits tomorrow. You don't have to think about anything about tomorrow. Just start thinking about those things when you wake up. And I'm just like, I can't do it. And for the longest, it was such a struggle. But now I'm like, okay, the day is over. I'm not even thinking about tomorrow, you know? So, and those are the joys, I think, of having those day-to-day, regular moments where nothing overly exciting, or where you're not having to put cash down in order for something to happen. You get to observe. Again, another thing you get to do is observe your person. Being quiet. Like, what are you when you're quiet? Do you even know? I mean, a lot of people don't know what their person
looks like when they're quiet.
Or how they behave when they're quiet.
There's some though who are naturally like, that's their demeanor. They're just quiet quiet people.
But often though, don't you think that we talk about quiet people is because they're not talkative? It's just verbal, but they're probably very busy physically. You know what I mean? Like, when someone is settled, I think that's the quiet I'm talking about. When all the work, all the physical activity ends and all the works are done. That just sitting and being. A lot of people don't know what their person is like when they're just being. Some people have very fidgety partners, you know.
Very antsy ones.
Very antsy. Like, you feel like I gotta be doing something. I gotta be doing something.
You gotta be doing.
Yeah. And then there are others, their partners just knock off like into an instant deep sleep. You're just like, wow, how do you do that? And ironically, those two are probably a couple.
Yeah.
But I think what we're trying to just bring out today in today's brief, hopefully it's been brief, podcast is that it's necessary to take ordinary moments and be fully present and make memories out of that. They don't have to be postable, Instagrammable, TikTokable moments. They just need to be moments that you and your person can share and know that
tailor-made for you and your person.
Yeah, and it's just good to know that you and your person share that moment. Like, the world doesn't need to know it, and it's okay for the world not to know what's going on in your relationship. In fact, your relationship is likely to last a whole lot longer if a whole lot less people knew what was happening in it. The other thing is, of course, to learn to let the relationship breathe. In the quiet moments that you spend together. But here's another way to let the relationship breathe. I think maybe this is probably something we should talk about, like conflict resolution.
Wow, yeah, definitely.
Like, breathing during conflict resolution means we haven't finished this fight, but let's take a break. We both need sleep. We got work tomorrow, or pick it up later. And if you're fighting fair and disagreeing with respect, then it's possible to actually put a pause on a disagreement and then pick it up later. Because you realize that it doesn't always have to be all sorted out now, or else. You know what I mean? And I think
it can be very draining.
It is
especially
extremely draining. And you really want to have, think about it. If the disagreement starts after dinner, for example, are you going to sit and duke it out until 3 a.m.? And someone probably has a trip the next day. They have to be up at the crack of dawn, or...
It's also being inconsiderate.
Yeah, being considerate about the other person. So there's different ways that the relationship does need to breathe. Maybe that's the podcast we need to talk about. Breath in a relationship. What does it mean?
Yeah.
But for now, we're talking about just having ordinary moments together. So take time with your person to share ordinary moments. The phone may or may not be off. It's preferable if you just kind of keep off the phone as much as possible.
Mentally determined
to be present. Put a playlist that both of you can enjoy. Sometimes listen to your other person's playlist. Like Jessie and I have very different tastes in music. In terms
very
of
different centuries of music.
Tastes.
Like
I stick with tastes. Because music is timeless, so you can't even put a century on a song. There's songs you and I both sing that existed before either of us were born. So I'm just saying the music is timeless, is all I'm saying. That's my point. So, for example, when Jesse's doing the dishes or when he's cooking, like that kitchen playlist, the music that he listened to is so different from what I would listen to when I'm in the kitchen and cooking. And each of us has our own thing. We both listen to rock music, but his version of rock and my version of rock are so different. He thinks mine is very dark and aggressive. I think it's not. I think his is the one that's actually really dark and aggressive. But
it depends, man. Like, really depends.
It really depends. Exactly. You see, so it's just all a matter of perspective. So put in some music, sit and do something together, play a board game together, or just sit quietly and just listen to the music. You know what I mean? Pour some drinks, sit and enjoy each other's presence, do an activity together, learn from each other, share stories with each other. And that is how to build a relationship, honestly. It's not about the big things that you can do together. It's about the regular, everyday things that you can actually do together.
And also, something to point out, individuality in the relationship is also very, very crucial, because in order to achieve that level of quality time when everything has completely been silent, the individualityness is something that is very crucial, because you get to realize that even if you guys are in the same space, you don't feel like you need to, there's no pressure, you know, and you're able to, you just be yourself.
Yeah, I guess I think we had touched on it in a previous podcast about accepting the other person as they are, and saying that this is actually the person that I've chosen, you know. And as you grow and change, you have to re-accept this person. I think that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. You have to do it a lot more frequently than, you know. It's like, for example, when we fight and I really do not feel like I like Jesse in that moment. Let me tell you the truth. I'd rather, honestly, I'm like, yeah, right now I'm not feeling your vibe, but ask me to choose a person to be with in that moment, I'd still choose Jesse. You know what I mean? Just that's my personal person. Like, I'm not ditching you because we've disagreed. Because I've accepted that this is him. This is the thing about him. And the interesting thing is that I find that even when we disagree on something, sometimes we disagree around the same issues. But as the more we go around it, I realize this is actually a personality issue. Like, it's not even how he did this or why he said that. It's like, this is how his brain works. Yeah. So I need to stop looking at the outward result of how his brain works and just accept this is how his brain works. And so if I accept how his brain works, then I can expect that occasionally, because of how his brain works, he'll do something and I might not be happy with it, or it might irritate. The other thing is, as I grow, I'll also get over myself. Yeah. And just let that slide. I'm like, that's his way of expressing. Like, not let it affect me to the degree that I feel like we have issues in our relationship. Now we have to deal with stuff. I think as and that's really what I guess somebody, a pal of mine did a small short, I think on Instagram it was, and he talked about being an adult. I don't remember the whole thing, so I'll just pick the point that I picked that hit me. Is that being an adult is that point when you get over yourself. Being the difference between being grown and being an adult. Yeah. Being grown is, you're 18 and you can be responsible for yourself. Yeah. But being an adult is about getting over yourself. Because think about it, you want to get married, you want to have children, you're going to have to accommodate other people, other personalities, other characteristic traits. Yeah. You cannot still be full of yourself and wanting everybody to line up themselves, to customize themselves to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they can't align to you. You know what I mean? Like, they can't just always be adapting to you. It's like you also have to adapt to them, and you need to make room and make considerations. And that is where the dreaded word compromise comes in. You're not compromising who you are. Yeah. You are looking at a situation and asking yourself, what is best for this relationship in the bigger picture? You know what I mean? In the long run, what do we want? If I intend on remaining in this relationship, what is the best course of action? So it stops being about you. It stops being about the other person. It just is, what is the best course of action for this relationship? And so it's in those little moments of making these tiny, seemingly inconsequential decisions that a relationship is built. And relationship is about being present and relating, not putting up appearances or, trying to keep up with the Joneses, or having moments that are Instagrammable or TikTokable. It's about being with that person. I mean, think about it, guys. Let's just take a moment and put ourselves in a situation that seems most impossible. Yeah. What if there was no Instagram or TikTok or any other social media platform where you could share your life and what you're doing with the world. You know, what happens to your relationship? Does it cease to have value because you can't put stuff online? Or can your relationship just stand on its own? You know, I've heard of stories where people did the whole thing of always posting their lives online, and that created so much pressure on the relationship that the relationship ends up breaking off. It's not even it was not ready. It's just cannot. It's not sustainable. Yeah. It's really not sustainable. Not for the health of a relationship. At a point, you just start being fake, and then at a point, it's too much pressure. Like, what if I don't want to post today? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, no, you know, our TikTok account, we have so many followers, we owe them. I'm like, no, you owe each other first. You know, take a break and go. Like, I don't think you're going to lose your following because you didn't post for 2 days.
In fact, if anything, you'll gain more because they've been waiting.
Right? They're waiting.
You
there
know?
You go.
Yeah.
So learn to appreciate the ordinary moments you have with your person. Learn to be quiet with them.
Yeah.
And learn to appreciate the mundane day-to-day stuff with your person. Because the reality of a relationship is it's more mundane than it is the exciting moments.
Yeah.
And as a long-term sustainable relation, that's why our parents, our grandparents were together that long. Whereas many of us might want to argue, oh, you know, it's because they were just suffering. They probably weren't. I personally have been privileged to come from a very long line of very happy couples, from my great-grandparents to my grandparents to my parents, siblings, aunties, uncles, like just generally people who like each other and enjoy being with each other. So I've been privileged with that. So I know that it's not Instagram that made their relationship work. It's not social media that made it's not the income that they had that made the relationship work. Like, the relationship was invested in and nurtured and grown on its own, and it was done in little moments, day in, day out. You know, we've woken up, we've had breakfast, the children are off to school, we're off to work. Just small moments here and there. And when they're older in life and they can sit back and really chit chat, now that their lives are not so busy, you ask them questions and they just have memories upon memories upon memories. And it's not because they went out of their way to make the memories. The memories happened as they were living their lives.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, is the thing about capitalizing on being present and taking advantage of the regular day-to-day moments is that at the end of the day, you have a long list of memories upon memories, and you didn't have to break the bank for that, you know. And you can also just be quiet. And it's not a fight. You're not quiet because you're nooning. You're just quiet because there's nothing, you know what I mean? But I'd rather just be quiet with my person here than be quiet alone, which tells you there's a vibe, there's an energy that people carry that feeds the relationship, even when there's no activity or words. Like, that individual's energy is potent enough that it can do something in the relating aspect, without words or actions.
Yeah. Quality time in 4K. Yeah, man. So it's been awesome. This has been one very exciting episode, I think. And to many more, such as these quality times that we are spending together. Yeah. So
this is actually quality time for us too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Recording this is actually quality time for us.
It is.
Because we get to hang out.
Yep, I definitely do. So yeah, it's been real. Hope to catch you guys on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in.
Peace.